Okay.
hmm
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Sherry and Kimberly with Teachers That
Hi.
Sparkle, and we are excited to get started with you today. Hopefully, everyone can see us and hear us okay. This is my first time to do a Streamyard live to all of my places, so hopefully, it all goes well. Hey, Kimberly, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited for our presentation today.
Yeah, me too.
And if you're ready, I'm ready to get us started.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, audience, we're here today because we're going to talk about teaching matters. We're going to talk to you about our version of how you can show up each and every day as your very best. We are Teachers That Sparkle, and I am Sherry Dixon. For the past 28 years, I have been an elementary educator. I had some middle school in there, but sorry about that. I've been in public education for the last 16. I've been an elementary principal. I've been in three different schools as the leader, and each of those schools were in a place that they needed to be turned around. So they were failing, and we needed to do work to get them to where they are. What's been great about all of that is between my teaching experience and then leadership experience, I've been able to learn from some of the best out there and network with some amazing people. And I'm excited to bring you all that I have with Teachers That Sparkle. Now, let me introduce to you my partner in crime, my own daughter, Kimberly Dixon.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I have been in education for 6 years. I just finished my sixth year. And I started as a kindergarten teacher. And then I moved up to a first grade position and I taught first grade for 2 years and I was the team lead. And then I went back to kindergarten, and next year I will actually be the early childhood reading interventionist at my school, and I'm really, really excited about that. Um, but I feel like I have a lot of advice and a lot of good things that I can offer because the last 6 years of teaching have been really fun and enjoyable, but also every year has been a learning experience, and each year I've learned something different, and have had some hiccups along the way that you navigate around. And so I'm excited to start Teachers That Sparkle, and I think that I have a lot of good advice to give, and I hope I can guide some teachers along the way.
All right, so why are we here? Teaching is hard, y'all. It's probably one of the hardest professions right now. And we are seeing teachers struggle. We're seeing administrators struggle. You know, I've been doing this since 1995. And for me, it was hard way back then. But over the past few years, between natural disasters, we're in the Houston area, we got to experience Harvey. But I know that many of you, wherever you're coming from, there's always something that goes on with the weather, the climate, something happening that's a setback. Then we all experienced the pandemic. And I think the best thing we learned from that is that online learning without a teacher really doesn't work, right? So, nonetheless, teaching is hard and we're losing people each and every day. And that makes my heart sad because I knew that I was going to be a teacher when I was 6 years old. And once I was able to step in that classroom and get through that first awful year, I knew in my heart that this was the thing that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Now, here's the thing across the US, there are about 4 million teachers. And each year, high schools seek out 78,000 new hires. That's a lot of new hires, and that's just high school. In October of 2022, 45% of US public schools reported at least having one vacancy due to resignations within the school year or non qualified candidates to fill these positions. I was a principal last year. I was there. I had a handful of teachers that were teaching in my classrooms who were not certified teachers. 2 years ago, I had a teacher that left before we ever even got the year started, a teacher that left at the end of the second month, and a teacher that left at the semester. There were no more qualified candidates out there. So we ran those classrooms with substitute teachers, or worse yet, combined them with 40 kids in a classroom trying to learn and prepare for state assessments and all the things that we're supposed to do the year after the pandemic. In January of this year, it was reported that 163 new hires were not qualified for the positions that they were filling. And just as I said, I had about 5, but think about that number, 163,000. And I know that's not just in Texas. And just a few months ago in April of this year, 59,000 teachers reported that they were leaving the teaching profession due to feeling overworked and undervalued. And what's worse is that our beginning teachers have little to no training, and they are 2.5 times more likely to leave after the first year if they're asked to come back. And of the ones that remain, 30% more leave within 5 years.
Those are some scary statistics. And not only that, but there are roughly 76 million students in the US alone. So 4 million teachers and 76 million students. That's a shortage, and that teachers are not going into the profession. It's scary. So with the teacher shortage, only 2% of our entire US population go into the teaching profession. On top of that, 1.2 million students drop out of school every year. So that's one student every 26 seconds and 7,000 students per school day. So what does this all mean? It means that we need good teachers. We need you because teaching matters. We might not be able to solve the overlying issues of teaching, but we can do the most important part and make sure that teachers are prepared and feeling good about what they're going into.
So let me talk to you about an experience that I was able to have a few years ago at a conference. I went into a session by Dr. Adam Sines, and he starts the session by explaining to us that he graduated from one of the Katy high schools here in the Houston area. So, of course, a connection. I listened in. He then went on to say, but he actually was born and raised in the Valley of Texas. And he was sent to Katy to live with a family that he did not know after he had gotten into so much trouble in school and eventually arrested, and his mom didn't know what else to do with him. So as he transitioned to Katy, Texas, and went to high school, the family said, we're going to support you and we're going to get you through high school, but once you get out of high school, you are on your own. And he did just that. He was able to graduate. He was able to get his education. But once he did graduate, the family was done. And so Dr. Sines found himself back out on the streets. He ended up in San Antonio, and patterns repeat themselves. What I didn't mention is that he also had a history of mental health issues. And as an adult, without jobs, without insurance, without money, he wasn't able to get the medication that he needed. So he started medicating himself. Of course, that means using street drugs. One morning, he wakes up on some random couch, wondering how he got there. And he looks over at a box that had his name on it. And it was his things. He opened the box and he found 2 envelopes. He had read those letters before, but it had been a while, and he was curious. So he read each letter. The first letter was from one of his high school teachers, who not only told him that she enjoyed having him in class, but that he had a lot of potential to go on after high school to do big things and to have an impact on the world. He put the letter back in the envelope thinking, okay, I sure fooled that teacher. And he opened the other envelope. And surprisingly, that letter said the same thing. That this second teacher believed in him and knew that he was going to do something big in the world. He put the letters away, put the box to the side, went on with his life. And within a few days, he started to have this feeling like maybe he should consider going back to school. Maybe he should go to college and work on that bachelor's degree. Maybe if two teachers told him the same thing, maybe there was some truth to it. And so he enrolled. The end of the first semester came upon, and he actually did pretty well. Now, of course, when you don't believe in yourself and you have a lot of other outlying issues, the first thing you want to say is, that was just luck. That can't happen again. But he told himself, let me try one more semester. And that second semester was a repeat of the first. And before he knew it, he was graduating with his bachelor's degree. And soon after, a master's. And now he stands on stages doing TED Talks as Dr. Adam Sines. Now, I share that story with you because it resonated with me. He was saved, and he credits all of that to the words that his teachers told him. Nobody believed in him. He didn't feel worthy. He didn't believe he could do big things. But those words mattered. Those teachers telling a student, a kid, a troubled kid, that they matters. Because teachers believed in that he mattered and that he could do big things. He could be important. He believed it, and it changed his entire life. Think about that. 2 teachers made that kind of impact. And not only did it have an impact on him, but then it trickled down to have an impact on his own children. And as a matter of fact, he shares in his TED Talk, which you can see on YouTube, that he also fostered a child, he and his wife, who also had a troubled past, and used those exact words with this child. And she has gone on to do great things in life. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was blessed to hear that story because I truly believe that we have a power as educators. We are looked at differently. We are referred to differently. For some people, I know that bothers them. We're held at a higher standard. However, we also have the power to change the world. And if that's not impact, I don't know what is.
The power teachers have is remarkable. It's really, you don't think about it when you're in the moment of your everyday living, but truly, teachers have a huge impact on all the students that they touch and the families they touch too. So,
and I know you've experienced that, Kimberly.
yes.
I know I've experienced that. And I'm sure if you're watching this and you're an experienced veteran teacher, you've experienced it too. And here's the thing. It can be a positive impact or it can be a negative.
Exactly. So something that we need to all keep in our minds every day. Okay, so switching gears, let's talk about what a typical day in the classroom looks like, because I think a lot of people from the outside, especially people who have never been educators or teachers, think, okay, you go to school, you babysit kids, you have fun all day. Like, let's talk about what it looks like. So let's talk about a typical day in the classroom. So you get to work, then students arrive. The students are eagerly waiting for you to guide them and nurture them and teach them. For most students, you are like a second parent to them. You are their school mom or their school dad. So you have a lot of hats to wear. They have a lot of expectations for you. And then a teacher covers a wealth of knowledge and content each day. So they have to take attendance, they have to attend meetings, they have to plan with their colleagues and their coworkers, they have to grade papers, and not only that, but you have to find a minute of your day, if you possibly can, to use the restroom. And then there's lunch and recess, so you get a little break. But then you go back to the classroom and there's more learning and there's more grading and there's more expectations that you're going to need to go over to keep students entertained so that they're not distracted and they're not getting in trouble and causing more issues than you need. And then after lunch is even harder than the morning is. And then you have dismissal, which sounds easy, but don't even think about messing up and losing a kid. Can be the scariest time of the day, especially if you're a new teacher. And then wait, you think your day's done, but it's not. Your day is not done. There's meetings, there's trainings, there's more work to grade, there's a classroom to clean up, there's the next day to prepare for, and it can feel like you can never do enough. Like no matter how many hours you spend in the school, you still have things to do, and your list, instead of getting shorter, your to-do list is getting longer. So then you go home and you rest. But wait.
Oh no, wait.
What?
Do you get to rest?
Well, no, you don't get to rest because you go home and you think you're going to relax and you think you're going to have a nice evening and you're going to not think about work at all. But how can you? Because if you're a teacher who truly cares, which I know you are, if y'all are watching this, you really are a teacher who truly cares and truly your job matters to you. You can't rest because you're thinking about everything in your day and you're thinking about the things that went really well, but most likely you're thinking about the things that didn't go really well and the things that are really causing issues for you and how you can solve them. And maybe you have no idea how to solve them and your brain just won't stop and it won't stop. And then it's time to wake up the next day. And then you can rest on the weekend, right? Or can you? I don't know. It's a vicious cycle that happens over and over and over again.
You know, Kimberly, that is truly a typical day in the classroom. And I know that I love a good story. I have seen so many people walk into a school building thinking, oh, I'm going to have this and I'm going to have my whole day scheduled. And they get through their schedule in like 10 minutes. That's a tip. That has happened. That's typical. Yeah. I know that so many people think, oh, I don't have to worry about dismissal. Kids will know where they need to go. And then someone gets misplaced. But what I love are the stories that you and I have shared over the years. And you have a great one about recess. Would you love to share that story?
Do I have a great story about recess?
You do have that great story about recess and your student that was stuck on the playground.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. The thing is, as a teacher, you accumulate stories over the years. I feel like every teacher should write a book about the things that have happened to them. And they would be like New York Times bestsellers because people would be so interested. But yes, so you think recess is like a very relaxing time, and it can be, don't get me wrong. It's a time where your kids are out having fun, you're getting some fresh air, you don't have to talk constantly, you all get a little break. However, one day I went to recess. I took my little class out there, and this was the year as we were transitioning back into school from COVID. So we were doing the hybrid model. So I only had maybe 10 students in my class at this time. And not to say it was an easy year, definitely not. You all know it was not an easy year, but recess and lunch and things like that were a little more laid back. It was less kids. It was just relaxing. So one day we're out at recess and it was almost the end of the year. And I am just enjoying myself when all of a sudden I hear one of my little students, Miss Dixon, Miss Dixon. And sometimes in your head you think, okay, what trick do they want to show me now? Yes, I can see you can run really fast, or that's so cool. Your cartwheel is awesome, right? But I look over and this poor girl had gotten stuck on one of the twisty things where it's like a pole and you have to twist yourself to come down. But she got stuck. She was like, just her legs were a little longer than probably should have been in the twisty things. So she got stuck. And of course, I'm up there trying to hold her and maneuver her down. And, kids, I mean, like, I'm not a very large person. She's probably maybe just a little bit shorter than me. And we just struggled. Her and I, we worked together as a team for probably like 7 minutes, but it felt like an hour. And I finally got her down. And as soon as I get her down, my arms are shaking. And I'm like, girl, don't do that anymore. Just don't get on the twisty thing ever again in your life. And she's like, got it, understood. And then all of a sudden, as I'm taking my breath and I'm like relaxing, I had a lot of adrenaline in me. I thought maybe we were going to have to like call the front office and get somebody to come out and help. And they'd be like, Miss Dixon, what are you thinking? So I'm trying to like calm myself down. I'm watching my students and I feel my phone buzzing in my pocket. And so I look at it and I see that it's one of the other teachers on our campus. And I'm thinking, oh no, like what's wrong now? Of course, I'm like heightened alert. I think something's wrong. So I pick it up and I just hear laughing, like breathless laughing. And I like look around, and the school I was at the time, it had windows that all faced like the playground and our courtyard. And I look up and she sees me, and she was watching the entire interaction and just was really entertained. So, I mean, it was a funny moment, like looking back. At the time, I was really scared, but, so there's always something, like you think your day is going well, and I mean, this is not to say this wasn't a good day. I mean, like there are little things that happen. It's just, I think that's a good learning lesson to know that there's always going to be something to keep you on your toes. So as soon as you think everything's smooth sailing, you better watch out, because probably somebody's going to get stuck in that twisty thing if you keep relaxing your brain.
Absolutely. And I love that you said earlier, you wear all kind of hats, because that day you sure did. All right. So remember, guys, teaching is hard, but it's hard because it matters. So now what we want to do is we want to talk to y'all about our top 10 tips of how to show up as your best self in that classroom each and every day. Because when you walk in that door, you're expected to be 100% every one of those people that those kids need. And you want to. If you take pride in the work that you do, if you want to have an impact on education, and if you want to be able to go home at the end of the day feeling like you accomplished something and not overwhelmed and frustrated, you want to be able to use these 10 things in your classroom. So we came up with this list because these, we feel, are the top 10 things we need to all think about when we are teaching. Now remember, you're not going to see anything about the standards and the test accountability and this and policy and politics. These are the things in the classroom that really matter. So the first thing that we just want to share and remind everybody about is prepare, plan, and plan again. I truly go by that statement. Failing to plan is planning to fail. I remember my first year. I took out those teacher's editions. Remember, it was 1999. And let me just tell you, they were pretty worn out by the time I got them. Took out those teacher's editions, and I thought all I was going to do was read what was in the teacher edition, and everybody was going to learn, and everybody was going to sit still, and everybody was going to listen, and I was going to have the top test scores in the building. Well, it doesn't work that way. And it took me a lot of learning to realize I needed to do just that. Prepare, plan, and plan again. I think another big important piece is learning from others. Y'all, I walked into that classroom my first year thinking I knew everything. I went to a great college. I had a great student teacher supervisor. I had great teachers I worked with when I was doing my student teaching. And this is what they all told me. Oh my gosh, you're so good. You're so ready. We're so excited for you. And then reality hit. And I had to learn quickly to learn from others. And you learn the right things and sometimes the not so right things, right? But it's important to think about what they do. You don't want to be Miss Dixon down the hall, you want to be you, but you might find a couple of pieces from Miss Dixon that work in your classroom with your kids. Use them. It's about collaboration. It's not about competition. When I said earlier, teachers have power, I don't want you to mistake that with power over, because one thing you need to do is avoid the power struggles. They'll get you every single time. You don't want to argue with a student. You don't need the last word. It's going to be okay. Power struggles are a recipe for disaster. You will never win. I don't know what it is, but those children, it's like children have a special skill. I don't know, Kimberly, if you've ever noticed this, but they just know. It's like, oh, their spidey skills come in and they realize I'm in a power struggle and I'm not going to lose. I don't know what it is, but they do.
They can sense it.
They can. So just accept. Don't get into them. It's not worth it. I promise. Over communicate. Y'all, the more you communicate, especially positives, the better your life is going to be. But any kind of thing. If something happens in your classroom, tell your principal. I've sat in the principal seat for so long. We don't like surprises, I promise you. And we can always help problem solve when something goes wrong. There's usually not too many things that we can't figure out together. 16 years in, I can promise you that. But when you don't communicate, that's when you set yourself up for failure. Communicate with parents, communicate with your kids, communicate with your colleagues, communicate with your supervisors. It will make your life so much easier, so much better. I love this one. And then I'm going to turn it over to my partner here. But set expectations and communicate them. There's that word again, 1 million times. I'm not joking. I remember my very first year telling kids, I told you on day 1 what the rules were and you don't know them. And this was on day 100. They don't know. They don't remember. They need to be reminded. And honestly, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to have to be very, very transparent. I can communicate something, an expectation to teachers, and I have to tell them more than one time. I promise. And my supervisors can communicate something to us as principals, and they have to tell us more than one time. We're humans. We're not going to remember everything. We need those gentle reminders. And doing that work in the front end is going to help you later on. Really? I love those first 5. You want to take it on for the last 5?
Yes, I think those first 5 are obviously very important, but these 5 are the ones that I think I have built my teaching career on, and I could preach about them until I'm blue in the face. I really, truly believe if you follow these 5 tips that I'm about to give you, that your life will be so much easier and you will feel happier and probably even more fulfilled in your job. So, first of all, go into your school year and understand, no matter where you are, whether you're on this side of the city or that side of the city, if you're in the suburbs or if you're in the inner city, if you're out in a very rural area, it doesn't matter. Just know that parents are going to send you the best that they have. So whatever background a student comes from, that's the best that that parent can do at that time. So maybe it might not be how you grew up. It might not be how you raise your children. It might not be how you want to raise your children. But that parent is doing the best they can, and they are sending to school the best that they have. So please keep that in mind. Work with your parents and have some grace. I think grace is a huge word to live by as a teacher. Grace with yourself, grace with your students, and grace with the parents of the students that you teach. If you can remember that, you will be able to build relationships better. You will be able to have connections with not only the students in your classroom, their families, with your coworkers. Just understand grace. My second top tip is students will perform if they know that you care. If you build those relationships with your students and they know that you care wholeheartedly about them and they care wholeheartedly about you, they will do what you ask them to do. If they know that you are proud of them and that you believe in them and that you love them, they will do what you want them to do because they want to make you proud. They want to make themselves proud. If they know that there's an adult out there who feels those things for them, then they will perform. And keep in mind, again, this connects to the first one, parents send you the best they have. Some students don't have people at their home that they feel care about them. They don't always have people who make them feel warm and cozy, who make them feel safe, who make them feel like it's okay to try and fail and it's going to be fine. They don't all have that at their home. So you might be the only person for that child in their life and you might not even realize it. But just let them know that you care. Love them, care for them, and everything else will be so much easier. And then connecting to that, I love all these because they all connect. Respect is earned and it goes both ways. So just because you are the teacher and yes, you have power and yes, you are an adult and yes, they are kids, you have to respect your students. And when they see that, they will respect you as well. You give them respect, they'll give you respect. So even though and keep this in mind, even when your students are doing things that just drive you absolutely crazy, because there are going to be times, especially around holidays, especially around the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, there's going to be times when your students do things that make you think, what in the world were you thinking? Sometimes you will be speechless. I had many moments this past year, my 6th year of teaching even, that I was just like, I don't even know what to say. Keep the respect in mind. It might not be something that you can logically put together in your head why they did what they did, but know that they are humans. They are humans just like you are, and they need the respect from you just like you would expect the respect from them. If you can make that a reciprocal relationship, then your classroom will be one that's inviting and welcoming and warm, and people will want to be there. Kids will want to be there, and you will want to be there. So please give respect to them so that they can give respect to you. My next tip is, I really like this one because I do this a lot. Ask questions and be honest. So if you don't know something, I always say this, and maybe this isn't a good way to say it, but here I am, I'm being honest. I'm always like, I may be like silly, but I don't understand XYZ. Or call me crazy, but I'm confused about this. And I'm just very transparent. And if I mess something up, which guess what? I mess things up. Mom, you mess things up. Teachers
We
out
all
there,
do. We
you
all
mess
do.
things up. And it's okay. Just be honest. Say like, oh my gosh, I accidentally did this, or that was my mistake. Then nobody is ever going to shame you for saying, that was me. That was my mistake. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. Please help me fix it. Can you help me, or can you guide me in the right direction? Just don't be afraid to ask questions. Be honest. If people that you work with, they get annoyed with your questions, if they, they get on to you, or, they shame you for making a mistake, those are clearly not the coworkers that you should be asking, and let it go. Don't take it personal, and just, find the right people. You'll find your people wherever you work. You'll find people that you worked with previously that are also there for you always to reach out to. So ask questions, be honest. And then that ties into my last one too. Don't take it personal. There are so many aspects to teaching that your coworkers, they become like your family, because teaching is not a solitary job. Teaching is something that you need others to do. You can do it on your own. I promise you can. I've been there before, but it's not fun. It's miserable. You don't have people you can laugh with. You don't have people that you can vent to. You don't have people that you can, be guided by. It's a job where you need others in your life that you work with to work as a team together. So there are also, with that being said, there's going to be times when you guys might irritate each other, where somebody might be having something really personal going on at home that's really, they're struggling to get through, and they're coming to work and they're trying their best to be, at a level 100 and perfect and ready to put on their brave face for the day, but they might like be a little bit grouchy. Don't take it personal. In addition, there are going to be students that are not going to like you. There are going to be students that are not going to behave for you. There are going to be students that like you, but they don't know how to behave. I had a perfect example. My first year, like probably all of yours out there, was the most difficult teaching year that I could ever imagine. And I had so many things happen. There were so many crazy situations. And I had this student who everybody around me remembers. Everybody in my family knows. Everybody in my circle will tease me still 6 years later about this. But this little boy gave me a run for my money. I joke about this, but I literally got beat up by a kindergartner like 3 times that year. This little boy kicked me, hit me, punched me, knocked me over at the playground. Talk about embarrassing. That was so embarrassing. I guess I've had a lot of issues at recess, I guess. But he did things to act out. And of course, like I had a co-teacher that I worked with, and he was on a plan, and these things, like he was also a kindergartner. He was 5. And I would go home, and I was such a new teacher, and I was so naive and fresh and thinking like, everybody's going to love me. And I would just cry. I would feel so defeated at the end of the day. And it wasn't even until my second year when I actually got to go on a field trip and visit him at his new school, where he's like running up to me and giving me a hug. And his mom is still in communication with me. His aunt is still in communication with me. I ended up teaching many of his family members like a couple years after that. It wasn't personal. It was a struggle that this little boy was going through that was being taken out on me because I was his teacher. So you're always going to have kids like that. Hopefully you don't all get beaten up by, your students multiple times a year. And I hope none of you get knocked down at the playground, because that is really embarrassing. But you're always going to have some student that gives you a difficult time, and that means they're going through something. They're having a difficult time. There's a root cause, but you are not the root cause. If you follow all these other tips, you plan, you learn from others, you give respect, you have grace with the students you have in your classroom, it's not you. Don't take it personal. Let it go. Think about how you can make the situation better, but don't lose sleep over it at night. Don't go home thinking that this kid hates you, that coworker hates you, that parent hates you. It's not personal. They're lashing out at you, but it's not you, ever.
So that was amazing, Kimberly. Thank you for sharing those 5 tips with us. And teachers out there, those of you listening, these are the tried and true tips. I'm telling you. You heard the stories, you heard the connections, you heard the things. And the great news is we are here to help you. So the first thing I want to offer is, if within those 10 tips, you heard something that resonates with you, or you want a little extra support on, or you just feel like you need just an ear, someone to talk to, someone to just kind of problem solve something with, reach out to us, because we're here. You can send us a message on our Teachers That Sparkle or on my own Facebook page, and we'll definitely get back out to you and get some information to you, and help you get to your best level that you possibly can. In addition to that, I want to share that Kimberly and I have been working very hard over the past few weeks, actually maybe a few months, because we've had this in our thought process for a while, but we're actually ready to make this happen. We are offering a program called Rookie to Rockstar. Now, you're on this training today for a couple of different reasons. Number one, you might be on because you're my Facebook friend. You wanted to see what I was going to be talking about today. You knew that I was getting on with my daughter, or you just kind of stumbled upon it. Maybe you're on because you're ready for your first year of teaching. You heard that we were going to be on today, and you just felt like, hey, I might want to hear what they have to say. Maybe you're here because you just completed your first year of teaching, but maybe it just didn't go the way you wanted it to go. You had these high hopes and you didn't even realize what you didn't know until you didn't know it, and then it was too late. Maybe you're still fairly new to the profession, but you're already questioning if you made the right choice in your career. Or maybe you came on because no matter how many years of experience you have, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're stressed, and you know that there has to be an easier way to do this. So let me just tell you, you have two choices today. You can continue on your current path, and that's all right. We're going to support you. Like I said, send us a message. We're going to give you our best that we possibly can. And you're going to continue to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, and stressed out. In 1 year from now, you're going to continue to wonder if you made the right decision by taking a teaching job. Continue on your path, and in a year from now, next year on summer break, you're going to be feeling the same way as you are now, that you're dreading going back to school. Because although you've had time to rest, your past experiences are still pretty fresh in your mind, and they scare you. They worry you about what's to come with your new class, with your new year. Or maybe you're still going to be hoping that somebody's going to come along with a little pixie dust, sprinkle it on there, and everything's going to get better. That's choice number one. But choice number two, you can reach out to us for some support. And you can walk into that classroom on the first day prepared and confident that you can do this. You can feel comfortable communicating with your students and their parents. And trust me, and I know Kimberly will agree, parent communication is the scariest thing that there is. I promise. You can understand the ins and outs of the school system and the why behind what we do. Because when you know the why, everything else makes sense. You can know that the school year is going to be better than the last year and that you made the right choice going back. And most importantly, you can realize that you can make a difference in the lives of children with the right supports and the right cheerleaders right by your side. So let me tell you about Rookie to Rockstar. It is a 10-month online self-paced learning opportunity from two of the best teachers that sparkle. During those 10 months, you're going to be receiving course materials that make everything very doable and can be downloaded and used immediately in the classroom. Checklists, scripts, plans. We're not going to do it for you, but they're going to be your guide to being able to go in there, take what you've learned from your training, and apply it immediately. You're going to have a monthly group coaching call where you can get questions answered and learn not only from us during that call, but from your peers in the program as well. And we guarantee that if you complete all of the training, use the strategies and materials, and that you will receive an evaluation that you want and an offer to come back to your classroom the following year. I know that if you follow our guidance, you work with us, you won't fail. Just like you feel about your classroom set of kids, I feel the same way with you. I am only as successful as my students' success. your success. And I'm not going to let you fail because I believe in the power of being a teacher in the world of public education.
If I could just add on to that, I think so. I think that if you complete our course, you will feel not only will you have an evaluation that you want, not only will you get an offer to go back to your campus the following year, to your district the following year, but I truly feel that you will find the happiness and the joy and the fulfillment in your job that maybe other teachers are not finding. I feel truly passionate, and I know that my mom does as well, about guiding new teachers. And I wish that districts could offer things like this to new teachers just always, but in reality, they just can't. There's either not the funding for it, or, the big districts, there's too many teachers, there's too many personnel. This is, I feel like, something I've always wanted to do, because although I had an amazing principal that I started teaching with and an amazing campus, I loved the people that I worked with. I loved my principal. My principal, I will shout it from the rooftops how awesome I thought she was. Like, Dr. Mustin, if you're out there, I love you. Like, you're great. She, believed in me. But our program, I just feel like I have such a passion for guiding new teachers, because my mom always taught me the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. So when you go into a new position, you're not going to know the things. Like, you might not even know the things to ask questions about. And it can be really overwhelming, and school districts do their best, and principals do their best, and your mentor teachers are going to do their best. But we're going to guide you. We're going to make sure that each month you have the things that you can utilize in your classroom that are specific for that month, and that are going to help you along the way, that is going to make your life easier, that's going to not only just guide you, but it's going to teach you as well. So then you can go the following school year and you know what to do. It's like a habit. It's like muscle memory. You don't even have to think about it. And that in turn will help you have, again, like that feeling of happiness, like less stress, more fulfillment with your job. You can have a more balanced life. You're not going to lose sleep at night because you're thinking about the things that went wrong in your classroom, and the things you're struggling with in your job, or with the parents of your students. So I just think that we both have a really big passion for this. And From Rookie to Rockstar is really, really, really going to help so many new teachers be successful and be happy about it, be excited about the things that they do every day.
Thank you for throwing that in, because, the other thing is, we see so many teachers that have so much potential that walk out, that leave, that look so unhappy. And we know that just with that little bit of support, it will make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Rookie to Rockstar, and let's talk about what we would need from you. Now, I know what you're going to ask, and we're going to get to that, but let's go over the cost, because I know both Kimberly and I would love to be able to say we give this to you for free, because we feel that passionate about the work we do. However, we need to make a living. So we do want to provide a deal for you. 10 months, that is the length of a school year. Every month, we're 1 month ahead. So July material is going to be what you need to start up the school year. August is for September. And for those of you who might be in a state or in an area where you don't start school in August, you get access from the start whenever you come on board. So you're always going to be that 1 month ahead. If you pay in full for all 10 months, we're going to give you a 20% discount, $800. Now, I know you're going to say, $800, I can't afford it. I want to put this into perspective. Number one, I have bought shoes for more than $800. And I bet if you count all the shoes in your closet, you have two. And number two, happy hour. It's a real thing for teachers. And it becomes more often than not when you're stressed out and overwhelmed. 4 happy hours, and you're paying for this course per month. $80, right? You can do it. I promise you. All right. Having said that, for those of you who are really adamant, I really don't have $800, I can't do the pay in full, That's all right. We've got a payment plan for you. It is 10 payments of $100. And regardless for what you decide for your payment plan, you're going to have access to materials beginning on July 18th. So we get you in, we get you onboarded, we get you ready, and you can get started. If it's after July 18th, you get access immediately. As a bonus, I also want to provide one-on-one support 1 time per month with me. Kimberly's going to be taking on a new position at her school. My schedule is a little bit more free, so I want to provide that. If you're going through these materials, you have questions, you're lost, you're stuck, you're using everything that you're supposed to and it's not working, I want to offer that service for you. So as I said, I know what you're thinking because I think these same things. We already talked about the money. The second things, you're probably thinking, okay, great girls, but you don't know my school. You don't know my district. How do you think you can really help me? Well, here's the thing. What we're going to do is we're going to take what your school is going to give you, policy, procedures, standards, and we're going to take our stuff, the feel-good stuff, the other kind of stuff, the stuff that you need to know, the why, the relationship building, the understanding of grading, how to set up the classroom, the things that matter. And we're going to mesh them together. And as Kimberly said earlier, as principals, that's exactly what we want to do with our people. But there are several other things that land on our plates, and we can't do it. So we delegate, and we get those lead mentors, or we get your mentor assigned to you. But they have a position too. And for some people, they don't get paid to be a mentor. And they do the best that they can. But that's not what somebody going into this ever important position can take. They need more than that. You're going to say, but what if I don't have enough time to complete the work? Our program, they're going to be manageable pieces of information we're giving to you, and they're going to be timely. So you're going to want to take the 30 minutes, the 15 minutes, the 20 minutes, the 45 minutes, whatever the training is, you're going to want to take that, and you're going to want to really dive into that and utilize those materials. And of course, all in all, you're probably thinking, but what if I can't change? What if this isn't going to help me? What if I'm not cut out for this? You are. I'm going to tell you something. I've hired a lot of teachers over the years. I hire for heart. I can teach you to teach, but I hire for heart. If you care about your work, you care about making an impact on children, we can get you there. So I want to assure you on a couple of things. My first year was awful. Awful. Poor Kimberly sitting here on this screen. She probably doesn't even remember half of it. She was 5. I cried every night. My principal came into my classroom almost every day and left me a note about everything I needed to do differently. As a matter of fact, we were driving home at Christmas, and I said to my ex-husband, I'm not going back. I'm going to open a daycare and a preschool, and I'm not going back. I was going to be one of those that left mid-year. But something made me stick it out. And within 4.5 years, I left the classroom because I was chosen. I was promoted to be a campus instructional specialist. And not long after that, I became an assistant principal. Most assistant principals need to be in that position 2 years before becoming a principal. I was in there 1.5 years, and I was placed. I was chosen. I did not interview to become the principal of the campus. I had become one of the youngest principals in my district. I've served as a principal at failing campuses, 3 different schools, 3 different districts, and moved all of them to success within 1 year. I've learned from the best teachers out there, and I didn't do all that work alone. I did that by building my network and learning from others and understanding what works and what doesn't work. And I hire, as I said, for motivation, for heart, because I can teach you to teach. You can ask any one of my employees over the years. I can get you where you need to go. And my last little tidbit for you as a principal, over the last 16 years, I've had 5, one handful, first-year teachers that I've asked not to return for a second year. That's pretty good statistics. Kimberly, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I agree with everything you said. I do know that, and I struggled with this too as we were building the course. Like, oh no, $800 is a lot of money, and $100 a month is a lot of money, and we're all just teachers. But I really truly believe that what we have to offer will make such a difference. And then, you know, in regards to, I think sometimes we hear the word coursework. Like, what if I don't have time to complete the coursework? This isn't like, you know, the mandatory things that your district sends you to, which those are great, right, guys? But like these are things that literally are just meant to help you. We're never going to be, you know, sometimes districts have this like, I got you kind of thing, like, oh, you didn't finish the work, and oh, well, so you don't care, so you must not like your job, so you're not a good teacher, you know, like we're never going to be that. The coursework is literally just stuff that like you can do to help you be better. I mean, my first year was really rough, like super rough. My 4th year or 5th year was really rough. It was enough to make me say I'm gonna leave and never come back. Like I'm gonna leave the profession entirely. But I did come back because I have the passion for it, and I think that I know what it takes to guide teachers. I've had enough experience, and I've also like I haven't been doing this for 20 something years. I remember exactly what it felt like my first year. I remember exactly what it felt like my 5th year when I was struggling and there were different obstacles that I had to navigate around. I can be there to guide you as a listening ear, as a nurturing friend. I think that, you know, sometimes these are the things that you just really need. So our course is really going to help you guys.
I'm so excited about it. I just cannot wait to get people started and to get all of you to start feel it and experience it and hear about all the successes that you're going to have by utilizing everything.
Yeah, me too.
So from rookie to rock star, how to rock your first year or years of teaching, because I don't want you to shy away if you're not a brand new teacher. If you're in those first couple years and you're struggling, it's okay. We get it.
Yeah.
We are never going to judge you. I can promise you that. Our mission is to help educators be their best, not tear you down, not leave you the little sticky notes, not make you feel like you made the wrong choice by becoming a teacher. So reach out to us. You can send me a message on any of my social media. You can send it on Teachers That Sparkle. You can send it even on Instagram. We're over there as well. You can email me directly at agirlandherdog123@gmail.com. And then I can give you the link to get registered. The link is ready. Everything is ready to go. We can get that going for you. I'm also going to be reaching out to some of you teachers out there, some of your networking groups. I'll be reaching out to schools and principals because we truly believe that this is going to be a game changer. And thank you for someone who liked our little thing. Thanks. But it's definitely going to be a game changer. And we truly are on a mission to have an impact on the world by helping teachers believe in themselves, by helping people in the world understand that our mission is important. Teachers are important, that we're professionals, just like all the other professions out there. We're just as good as them, and we need to show the world that. So, Kimberly, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
And all of you out there that joined us are catching the replay. Like I said, reach out, let us know how we can help you. And I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.
Bye.